So I've gotten some questions for y'all that have to do with homeschooling, so I'm going to do my best to answer them now.
Come and play with me. Run away with me. Just you and me. Happy days. Every day. We will be okay.
Hey guys, it's me from Mama Needs Chocolate, and I am hanging out during the big kids nap time with my littlest one, so if you hear some noise, that's who you're hearing. And I recently posted and asked around to a few different people if they had any specific questions on homeschooling, and I'm trying to really just do as many videos as quickly as I can on the topic, because I know back to school is going to be starting really soon. And so here are some questions. Here are some questions that I got. And the first one was how to put together a curriculum. That's something I want to cover more in depth in another video, but I'm trying to keep these kind of short and sweet. And when you are looking to put together a curriculum, there are a few things that you kind of need to take into account. And just really quickly, that's going to be, what is your budget? Do you want it to be a computer-based program, or do you want it to be more workbooks? What type of learning style do you think your kids need to go by? How do they best learn? What kind of teaching style do you want? If you do much research, you're going to find there's tons of different teaching styles. You have classical, you have Charlotte Mason, you have Montessori, there's secular, there's Christian, there's combinations of all of these, there's unschooling. There's essentially taking what you would do in a public school and bringing it into your home. So all of that's going to play into how you would put together a curriculum. Personally, I like a mix of classical and Charlotte Mason, and my kids do really well with that. And I like a little bit of both computer and textbook and workbook style lessons. They do really good with hands-on, so I was looking for curriculum that had a lot of hands-on as well. And our budget is not massive, and homeschool curriculums can go from free to really expensive. Some good free ones, in case you're just wanting to look at something quickly, would be Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschool, Ambleside Online are two really good true blue homeschool curriculums that are free. If you want to do K-12, there's a K-12 program available in most states as far as I'm aware, and that is essentially public school that you just do on a computer at home. So that's not going to be the same as just doing homeschool on your own, because you're essentially just doing the public school lessons at your house. And then also, do you want to put it together piece by piece, or do you want to do it out of the box? I pretty much prefer getting a box and then just having a few little pieces I can add in. So that's something you can look at. I've mentioned before, I use My Father's World. I've also used Letter of the Week and K4 from Confessions of a Homeschooler, and I have also used Horizons. So I'll make sure to link everything I'm talking about below so you don't get lost, because I know I talk fast. Another question was grade books. I honestly, again, we're in Texas, so the states here vary state to state. Most people I know don't actually keep up with grades unless they are a high school student, because they know they're going to need to make a transcript. So they don't, they make sure their children are getting the information correct, but they don't actually sit down and keep a daily grade book. You can do that starting from day one at the kindergarten level if you see fit. You can do that in multiple ways. You can either find a printable online. There are several. You can use a computer-based program like myhomeschoolgrades.com, which is a really great resource. I've used that because you can plug in your lesson plans as well as your grades. Another one is the Homeschool Helper app. That's a wonderful one. It's $5. You can use it on a tablet only, though. That's the one hang up. But that's also a great resource for lesson planning, record keeping, transcripts, grade keeping, all of that. That's a good one. And there's tons of, if you just want to make up your own in like Excel or something like that, you can do that as well. And there are a lot of apps, at least through the Google Play Market. I have an Android, where you can plug in the number of questions that were asked and how many answers they either got right or wrong, and it will give you the grades. So there's a lot of help there. A lot of people, if they do or don't grade, and a lot of states require this, Texas doesn't, but I keep one anyway, they keep what's called a student portfolio. And that can be a binder or a folder that shows the type of work that your student did that during that particular school year, and they keep that, or they might need to turn that into the state or have it reviewed. Personally, I keep absolutely everything my kids do. I've been told that I'm weird for doing that since our state doesn't require anything. I am just a freak, and my kids typically can fill up 2 3-inch 3-ring binders a year. So we're going to have to start looking at storage space for all of that. But I do that as well, just so that if anything were to happen, there is a track record of what my kids have been doing and their performance each time that they've done that. Websites. I got asked about websites. Again, for like a grade book or lesson planning, transcripts, myhomeschoolgrades.com is a good one. Homeschool Share is good. They've got a lot of things for lap books. I use theirs a lot. And their stuff is free. Teachers Pay Teachers is another great resource I've used, and they have some free things, some things you do need to pay for, but they're typically pretty inexpensive, so I like that website as well. Pinterest is huge. You can pretty much just put in whatever it is you're looking for in particular, and it'll pull up a plethora of ideas for you. As far as maybe learning websites, Reading Eggs is good. Always Ice Cream is good. My pre-K-er and my toddler love ABC Mouse. I have to actually time her on it because she will stay on that for forever if I let her. And then also Time for Learning is one that my older son likes. And of course ABC Mouse and Time for Learning have a monthly fee with them, but I think it's about $20 a month for each website. So those are some websites that we utilize that we really enjoy. How do homeschool kids compare to their public or private counterparts? There's a lot of information if you start Googling this. Pretty much, not trying to slam anybody, but homeschool kids in general do better because they have a lower student-to-teacher ratio. There's not necessarily a set schedule. They're able to go at their own pace. So if they're done with something, they can move on instead of being trapped in a particular subject and feeling bored, or they're not rushed ahead to go on to the next topic if they need to spend more time focusing on an area that they're struggling with. They tend to perform better on ACT and SAT testings. They are actually being sought out by a lot of colleges because they tend to be better college students since they know how to be self-motivated and self-learners. They don't have to have someone hanging over them all the time helping them. There are even scholarships available strictly for homeschool students. So comparatively, they tend to do really well. They do just as good, if not better, typically better. So there's the comparison for you. How long do I spend each day teaching? Honestly, that varies. It varies by the amount of lessons we need to get done that day, and it varies by grade level by quite a bit. When we were doing pre-K, just doing strictly what was out of the textbook, took us about 45 minutes to an hour a day. Not long at all. Now, I was always looking at more activities and things to do, and of course we did a lot of sitting down and reading, which I didn't count as school time. It was just us sitting down and reading, but actually going through the Horizons Pre-K program from beginning to end every day, and I did just about everything that they recommended doing, would take about an hour. He actually did so good that we skipped kindergarten, and we went into first grade. And first grade took about an hour and a half to 2 hours on average. There were some 2.5 and 3 hour days in there if we just had a lot of subject content to go over. But that's how long we spent on average in second grade, and then third grade has been about 2.5 to 3 hours. If there's a science experiment or a cooking project or a hands-on activity we need to do, of course it's going to make it take a little bit longer. But it's not necessarily at this point an all-day long thing. And then again, you know, time for learning, when he's on time for learning, if he's doing reading, or if I'm doing a read aloud, or if we're watching supplemental videos, I don't necessarily count that as school time. That's just the 2.5 to 3 hours is what we're doing completing the bookwork that's lined out in the teacher's manual. And then one other question I got was, how do they change grades, and do they change grades? That's a really good question, and it really varies. Again, every state has different requirements. So like I've said before, please, 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 if you're considering homeschooling, one of the very first things you should do is go to HSLDA.org. I will link it below. They're going to be able to give you information on what is required by your state. Now, I know several families who don't worry about grades, what grade their child is in. Me, I do. More so because I want to make sure that they're on track with their public or private school counterparts. Right now, my son is wrapping up second grade. If he were in public school, he would be getting ready to start second grade. So we're about a year ahead of schedule, grade level wise. And also, when you buy a pre-boxed curriculum, it does help to know what grade level you're looking at. So when we started pre-K, of course I got a pre-K curriculum. He did so good with that. And he was so advanced, and he was so antsy to move on and needed to be challenged. We skipped kindergarten and moved straight into first grade, and then from there we went into second grade, and now we're getting ready to start third grade, which for us means My Father's World, exploring countries and cultures. So I will link everything. You're going to see me probably in the same outfit a whole lot because I'm trying to get a whole bunch of videos done, but only cover questions or certain topics at a time. If you have questions, please, please, please do not hesitate to ask me. I am more than happy to answer any questions, and best of luck to you if you are thinking of starting your homeschool journey. Bye.